when you talk about running injuries and you talk about those common injuries that we've kind of touched on there, what would you say is the kind of common causes, and what's the common solution to that as well?
So I always like to with an injury look for the biggest factors that are going to make the most amount of difference, and then work into some of the other factors. So the number one risk factor for most injuries in most sports is going to be previous injury. So unfortunately, there's not much you can do about that. So whatever injuries you've had in the past are going to increase your likelihood of getting a new one. So it's good to know that, but it doesn't help us a huge amount. The second thing is change in loading. So if you increase your miles too quickly, that will cause a problem. But that's an easy one to see. But think about other things. If you change your surface too quickly, or if you change your footwear too quickly, or so anything where you change a variable too quickly is gonna cause a problem. Now, the next thing then is like low movement variability. So running is a sport that's repetitive in nature. There is not very much variability in it anyway. Now, we can make that better or we can make it worse. So if you run at the same speed, the same distance, the same loop, the same, there's very little movement variability there. So you're going to probably increase your likelihood of an overuse injury. Whereas if you were able to, interject some changes of pace into your running, interject some hills into it, maybe interject some training outside of running, like yoga or circuit training or whatever, you're going to increase the variability. So low movement variability would be another factor. And then you see we're going from previous injury, changing something too quickly, lack of movement variability. Then we can start to get into things that might be interesting, like, biomechanics and so on. There is a certain style of running, probably influenced as well by the height and the weight of the runner as well. That does play a role. But I would say most people want to start there. Whereas what I would say is, unless you've looked at the bigger factors that make the bigger difference, then don't sweat about getting a detailed biomechanical analysis, because let's say we get that biomechanical analysis, we fix all the things that we think are wrong in your stride or whatever it is. If you change your load too quickly, or if you do too much of the same thing, it doesn't matter. So
like
you've got to start with the big factors first, and then get into the small ones.
So what would you say the top big factors are, like, if you had to really just list them?
So changing your training too quickly, is the main one. And doing too much of the same thing, I would say, is the second one.